So, let's get started. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright.
So, kind of like Sunshine, we get a 1-minute cutscene before we have to do anything. This is Piplup, Chikorita, Charmander, and Pikachu. They're all friends. And out of nowhere, Mew comes along. And they're all happy and playing. And then a mysterious hole appears out of nowhere, and then Piplup just messes everything up, knocks us into the hole. And so I guess I'll go over the premise of the game. It's really basic, and coming up is we're going to be talking to Mew, and he's going to explain the premise of the game. I'm just going to talk over him, because it's just a bunch of text boxes. Basically, we are whisked away to the wonderful land of the PokéPark, where all Pokemon roam free and have fun, and are friends. However, this place in the PokéPark, the Sky Prism, the Sky Pavilion, has this crystal called the Sky Prism, and it's shattered into multiple pieces for whatever reason. And that is causing distress and corruption amongst the Pokemon in the PokéPark. So we are tasked with collecting 14 of these pieces and restoring niceties to the PokéPark. But once we reawaken from that quote-unquote dream, we meet Chatot, who's basically like your guide in the PokéPark, and we go through the tutorial now.
All of it's pretty simple movement options. I guess you should explain the dash mechanics and how that will be changing.
As far as movement goes, we have the D-pad. That's just basic movement, but that's really slow, and we only use that for tight cornering and like really small movement areas like this. I'm going to be just walking real quick. Okay, that was really sloppy, but whatever. Other than that, we use the 1 button to dash. This is like basically quick attack, but they call it dash in this game. There are multiple upgrades to this, and we'll be getting all of those. The 2 buttons to jump, you can jump high and you can jump short. All really simple, but basically this entire run is just going to be me mashing the 1 button to dash. And now here's what the entire game is built around: running into other Pokemon to befriend them. There are multiple skill games in this game to help you friend other Pokemon. One of probably the most prominent one is called Chase. It's basically tag. You just have to run into them with dash. There are a few others like Quiz and Hide and Seek. We don't play Hide and Seek in this game except once with Mew, but that's not really technically Hide and Seek.
Not really, no. Hide and Seek is just really slow. The only instance where Hide and Seek would ever be really optimal is there is one instance with a Bonsai, but since there are multiple positions which Hide and Seek can happen, so they can hide in different locations, it's too much RNG and it's not worth like the 2 seconds it saves. So we never play Hide and Seek.
And the last one is Battles. Basically, it's a rundown version of actual Pokemon battles from the mainstay games. You just got to take your opponent's HP bar down to 0 with either dashing or other moves. You also have Thunderbolt in this game, which is your A button. Next up, I can kind of go over the currency in this game, which are known as berries. We're going to be collecting a lot of berries throughout this run due to the dash upgrades costing berries. If you remember earlier, I dashed into a crate and I got a green berry. Green berries are worth 10. We have red berries or orange berries. I think they're red. We refer to these as red berries though. They're worth 40, 50? 50. They're worth 50, and then there are golden berries, which are really rare and randomly happen, like very randomly. And They're worth 100. So they're kind of... Oh, go ahead.
If by some chance we get a gold berry, deathline's pretty much set.
Yeah.
On berries. I guess you should explain like extra berries or whatever, or what we need for them.
So how the route has changed over the past few months, we've gotten it to the point where if we get one red berry with this route, I only need to collect one green berry, but if I don't get any red berries through this route, there are a number of extra berries I have to collect throughout the route to make sure I have enough for everything. But if any point I get a red berry, or perchance a golden berry, then I don't need to go out of my way to get these extra berries. So here we are in the first zone. This is known as the Meadow Zone. It's your run-of-the-mill grassy area zone. And as such, we meet Chikorita again, and Baneri again. They always just kind of go over the game, like attractions, which we're going to be going up against right about now. Attractions are like the full mini-games in this game. There are a number of attractions, and all of them have a prison piece. And this first one is run by Bulbasaur, and it's known as Bulbasaur's Daring Dash. And basically, you just shake the Wiimote very vigorously. As far as menuing goes, there's very little menuing. All options will start on the option no, and you always have to pan over to the yes option manually. And that's really annoying in about 90% of the situations, other than when you get a prison piece. They'll ask you if you want to save, and we always just mash no, because it takes like 10 seconds or something to save in this game.
Yeah, the first save you do is the longest save, because I don't know, something about how the game saves. But, so if you accidentally save at all during this run, it is by far the longest save that you'll have to endure.
So there's our first prison piece out of many. But get this, Trico and Mankey come up and they're like, "Did you play the attraction? You're not supposed to do that here." So instead of taking Pikachu, who's the one who played the attraction, they're just gonna take Chikorita. Which is...
Hashtag Chikorita did nothing wrong.
Which is super... It's up there with like the worst court system with Super Mario Sunshine. And they'll all like go save Chikorita across the river. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and come over here to Munchlax. Munchlax is kind of by this box. There are things known as fetch quests in this game. They're all extremely annoying. And this one is just the simplest of them. He wants a Big Berry. Big Berries are items. If you just give them to certain Pokemon in the park, they'll become your friends. We take care of this 3 times. Once is with Munchlax.
Yeah, Pikachu can hold certain items, and while Pikachu is holding these items, Pikachu walks really slowly.
So Turtwig, being the guy he is, he's like, "I'm not gonna let you cross until you get the slowest guy out there to beat the game as fast as possible." So we have to go and talk to Turtwig, who's always in the same spot no matter what. And then he's like, "I don't want to play it, but if you beat me in Chase, then I'll play it for you." That's kind of how this game works. It's just beat them into submission until they become your friend. It's really weird when you think about it that way, but it's a lot of just running into people. And you're gonna see me going out of my way a lot during this run to talk to other Pokemon to friend them. You need a total friend count at certain parts of the game. Certain minigames or those attractions, they require you to have a certain amount of Pokemon to play them, or friend. And so that's why I'm going to go out here and friend Pachirisu, Baneri, and Lotad later. Pachirisu is by far one of the most annoying, because if you don't get a like 1 in 50 chance of him doing a very rare pattern, it's really slow to chase him. Of course, we had really good Baneri RNG, who's right next to him, so that's good. This game is just a bunch of RNG and reacting to it, especially during chases and battles. More so chases, because while they do have a somewhat set path, the way the game works when you're behind them and how they're trying to go along that set path can change, and they can just totally do a 360 or like a 180 on you. It's just really odd sometimes. There's a really rare pattern for Pachirisu where he'll start running away, but how the game works, he'll just start running back towards you.
There are certain Pokemon that can do that too, where they just turn around. And this can actually be really ideal in some situations, because if the Pokemon goes right in front of you, you can take down multiple seconds of chase. The only other one that I can think of that comes to mind immediately is Raichu.
Yeah. Apom is a possibility, but it's really
Oh
really
yeah,
rare.
that's right. Yeah, Apom too.
Okay, so now we have to play Bulbasaur's Daring Dash with Turtwig. This is the only time we ever play the same attraction twice. I guess I can kind of go over attractions. They have a goal time, which is basically the time you have to beat it in to at least beat it, and then they have a bonus time. If you beat it under the bonus time, you get a bunch of extra berries. And we have to complete every attraction in a bonus time to get these berries, because they're necessary for the route. Also, once you complete an attraction a second time, you get a menu at the end where we need to menu down and hit quit. Otherwise, we either try again and waste more time, or we select a different Pokemon. So.
Luckily, this is the only time we have to deal with that menu, though, because the menu can be quite annoying to deal with.
Mm-hmm. So, after training Baneri unlocks Lotad and Shinx. Lotad's right here. Shinx is back there, that's really rare. Shinx never comes back down here. He's usually up in the corner where I chased Pachirisu and Baneri. But, the spawns are all RNG based. They're all completely random every single time. It's rare that you'll get the same one twice. And before and after every battle, especially if there's a new friend coming into the park or a new Pokemon, their spots will change. So you could finish a battle with someone, and someone will be right next to you, and then they'll have a new Pokemon come into the park, and then that original Pokemon that came around will be in a different spot.
I believe Hero, who was the previous world record holder of this game, thought it was something to the effect of like a really weird area of effect thing, where each Pokemon could spawn in an area, but if areas overlap, then they have a wider range. And so it's not even so much that like, oh, Lotads will appear in this little circle. It's Lotads can appear in this circle, but if I don't even know if Pachirisu also spawns over here because it was moved by. I don't even know. If it was moved by something else, then it'll be all the way over here. And so it's just, there's no point in even trying to memorize it. You just kind of got to work with what you got.
Mm-hmm. And there we kind of run into the tree. That tree can give you any kind of berry. It usually gives green. Green are the most common at like 9 out of 10 times. Okay, I'll say like 7 out of 10, and then red berries are like 2 out of 10, and golden berries are like much less than 1 out of 10. So not even 100%, but it doesn't matter. Like, golden berries are really, really rare. Out of the time I've been running this game, which is actually more than half a year now, I've only ever gotten 2 golden berries during my runs.
I've gotten... When I played this game as a kid, throughout all of that and while I was speedrunning, I've only ever gotten 1 gold berry in my entire life. So, and I've put like well over a couple hundred hours into this game. So, it's pretty insane how low of a chance they are. I would bet it's far less than 1%.
Which is very annoying compared to gold nuggets, but we'll go over that another time.
We'll get to that eventually.
After there are like 3 instances where after a battle or a chase, you have like 2 frames or something to mash the dash button or the jump, and you'll get a movement out of it. It's kind of annoying, but it saves a second if I can dash right after beating Minky. But I didn't get it, so it's not a big deal. I went ahead and chased Apom. That was actually a rather normal Apom chase, so I'm good with that. So we're gonna have to come down here and talk to Krogunk, who's like the gatekeeper for Venusaur. But he's like, you're super suspicious, but I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna let hunger beat my instincts.
I think Krogunk's just trying to have a good time too.
So he takes 200, and he's like, oh, you're trying to save your friend? How noble, I'll give 170 of those back. So you only end up giving him 30. Technically, you only ended up giving him 20 because we ended up, we friend him too in this run, and he gives you back 10, so. Another part of movement is I'll constantly be mashing either dash or jump after talking to someone. You have a few frames, especially after when you're trying to jump around them. If you wait too long, though, nice movement. If you wait too long, though, you'll re-talk to them, and that's kind of slow. So we always just mash too when we're trying to get around someone like Krogunk. But we finally got to Venusaur and Chikorita, and they're like, well, he's like, well, go beat Krogunk and Spearow. I trust them the most. I guess while I'm near the river, I should mention there are very few instances where you can knock Pokemon out of bounds into the river, and that's known as an instant ring out, where you can end the battle even if they have HP. So
it's basically a quick kill. Just think of it like that. And it can happen with this river, and it can happen with the ocean and the next zone. Ambipom is one of them that you can quick kill, but it really depends on the RNG, and they have to be really close to the river. I've only ever gotten quick kill with Lotad in Metazone. Yeah, I've gotten quick kill only a few times with Ambipom and Lotad. Nice. So, battling strats, as far as it goes, Krogunk went over it kind of quickly, but if you double tap left or right, you'll kind of sidestep away from the Pokemon. We abuse that a lot. We just kind of sit in front of the Pokemon, because since they have invincibility frames, and then we just sidestep right as they're about to attack. We also have a few combos in the game. If you Thunderbolt into a dash at base level for those two abilities, you do 1.5 damage worth of bars. So whenever Pokemon have an odd number amount of bars, we abuse that instead of just dashing into them 3 times. Because once you dash into a Pokemon, they instantly get invincibility frames, but if you Thunderbolt a Pokemon, they don't get invincibility frames until after a short period of time. So we also friended Trico there. He's one of the more annoying chases in the game. So here's Spearow, and Spearow has one of these skill games that I didn't mention earlier, and it's probably one of the most annoying. This is known as Obstacle Hop. Basically, it's a platforming minigame.
And let me tell you, platforming in this game is not fun. It is really easy to fall off in this game because Pikachu is really finicky. But that one's really easy. You just hold up and press 2 when you land. But it gets a lot finicky later. So once you friend Krogunk and Spearow and all the other Mons that you can get, we go ahead and go back to Venusaur. I guess I never really mentioned who we are. I'm Deathline, you can call me Joe. I'm currently the world record holder for PokéPark Wii 80%. I've been running this game since January. My co-commentator here, who's also a staff member of SS4C, is the PokeHero49, more commonly referred to as Poke. He is currently 4th place or 5th place for this game, but
one of the two.
Other than him never doing runs, he has made 99% of this route that I use.
Yeah, the route that a previous world record holder hero used was good, but there was definitely some places where it just didn't really seem to add up that was the fastest. So while I'm not like I don't have like a great time, I have a 2:33 IGT while Deathline's world record is a
to my mic. Like, did you hiccup or something?
No.
That was really odd. It was like a really loud screech. But
well,
anyways. Oh, what the heck happened to stream? Okay, that was odd. Must have dropped frames or something. But yeah, Poke decided to like retake the entire route under his wing, and it's so much faster now. And there's only one minor thing I've changed to his route, and that's just a different Pokemon that I get as a friend. And I'll go over that when it comes up. But that was the second attraction of the game, Venusaur's Vine Swing. Basically, you just swing on a vine and you have to just launch yourself a certain amount of distance. We use Krogunk for that. I guess I should mention, we do use different Pokemon per attraction. It's not always just going to be Pikachu. Each Pokemon has a different goal and a different bonus amount that they get when they meet the bonus. And so Poke has decided to gone through every attraction, all the friends that we have at the time, and see which one is the most optimal.
Venusaur's Vine Swing is the one exception because Krogunk's just way more consistent for meeting the goal. Because you can do it with Pikachu, but it's a lot more specific and just not worth it. In a worst case scenario, if you get a perfect swing with Krogunk versus a not perfect swing with Pikachu but still making goal, it's only like 2 seconds, and is honestly, the frame window for getting it with Pikachu is a lot harder than you would think.
So once we're done, Venusaur was all happy and he's like, okay, I'll be friends with the other zone keepers. And Chiguru's like, you should make more friends, but like, nah, that's too much effort. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the meeting place. This is like the central hub of the PokéPark. Before that, we have this very not necessary point in the game where Star is blocking our way and tells you that if you hit the B button, you can go into a first-person point of view.
The most arbitrary tutorial.
We like never do this. I don't think.
It's so pointless.
Or no, if you point the Wiimote at the screen, hit B, you go to first person, but if you hit B itself, like you'll move towards the next closest object.
Sub 24 meta zone with Ambipom, not bad.
Shoutouts to Matamoto for the $25 donation. One of the staff members.
Oh shoot, he donated 25? Dang,
one of the staff members will come in and talk about that.
I'm probably gonna be able to do it. Actually, I can do them right now if that's a good time. Or let's wait till after the tutorials for the stuff.
Yeah, you can do that.
And then after that, we can do that.
If you can do that during when I'm talking to Azra and Slowpoke, that'd be great.
Alright, cool.
So,
Can do.
Shout out was just like, hey, this is the meeting zone. This is where everyone comes in. First up for this like tutorial spot is Chikorita. Chikorita's like, I'm not good at battling or anything, but I'll just make a treehouse for my friends. So that's cool. First up of those 3 useful tutors is Drifloon. Drifloon is basically your teleport or your travel stop from zone to zone at a cost of berries. So they're very useful. We use them a lot during the run. Coming up next is by far the most useless thing in any percent and 100%, but it's required, so we have to talk to Mischievous. Mischievous is the photo studio. You can take photos in this game, and it'll save directly to your Wii hard drive. If you want more photos, you need your SD card, but it's not really whatever. And they'll go over how to take a photo and why and when and whatever. And you actually have to take a photo and save. This is the only time we save in the game. Actually, it's one of 2 times we save in the game. So once you save your photo, you just re-talk to Mischievous, and that's that. And last up, we have the move tutors in this game. The first that you have is Electabuzz. He'll teach you greater range for your Thunderbolt, but we don't ever use that in any percent, unless you're Poke. Cough, cough.
Please. I'm sorry.
The story about that is Poke here and I, we did a race for a different marathon quite some time ago. And at this point, you just mash 2, because that's what we do to just menu, and it's always set on no automatically, but for whatever reason, Poke managed to hit up on his D-pad, which correlated to left in the game, and he selected the upgrade, which cost him 350 berries that he had to make up through the run. But that didn't even matter, because this guy got like 5 red berries in a row after that. So
yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was just holding up because it's the movement option you do afterwards, but the Wii control pad's kind of awful, and so I wasn't really thinking about it, and so the game just interpreted that as left, and then I bought the upgrade. It's pretty great.
So here's the second zone in the game. This is the beach zone. Kind of one of the more annoying ones. But coming up is just a bunch of text boxes. I'm gonna let Poke talk for donations.
Alright. So we have 2 donations actually. One, we have just an anonymous $5 donation with no comment, thank you. And the other one, we have Matamoto, who donated $25, and I'm going to try to say this on one breath with a straight face, okay? So he says in his comment, name Frisk, and then in all one word, YOLO Swag Master Supreme Mick 420 Blaze Weed for Charity, sponsored by StreamBig.net, sponsored by Mountain Dew, follow twitch.tv/Matamoto. So, because that's $25 donated, that's actually in the lead right now, so...
I'm disappointed.
Matto.
Thank you to those donations. Again, we have quite a few donation incentives that are still going on, donation wars. Get your donations in if you want your choice to be in.
Okay. Alright, so back to the run.
Back to the run. They're just talking about for Alligator and Gyarados being at a fight, Lapras at the Cape. We need to talk to Lapras. Starting off, we do have friend Azrael and Slowpoke. Their RNG is really random. Beach Zone, by far, is the most random zone for RNG. They can be absolutely anywhere in the zone, which is extremely annoying. So if you see a Pokemon and it's slightly out of the way, I'm going to go get it. Especially Azrael, seeing how Azrael unlocks Totodile, and we actually friend Totodile. Slowpoke unlocks Mudkip, which is hide and seek, which we don't play.
Totodile's the only one in this zone that stays even roughly in its own place. Azuriel, Slowpoke can all appear over the bridge as well, which is incredibly dumb when you think about it. I don't even know how the heck that coding works, but so...
Yeah. And one of the most annoying ones in the beach zone, Staravia, can be absolutely anywhere. So... there, before talking for Alligator, Corsola stops you, and they're like, well, I want to give a quiz to someone, and you're the first unfortunate soul, so you're going to get a quiz. Quizzes are just 3 questions. All the answers will always be the same, but the spots that they are in will be random. So, correct answer could be in slot number 1, or 2, or 3, it's really random. But they will always be the same answers for every question.
I haven't seen that movement before from the bridge to Feraligatr. Does that save a little bit of time?
Yes. Seeing how this game has massive loading zones and like very, very little skips, if you just hug the wall instead of making straight for Alligator, that saves a little bit of time. Same thing here with Piplup. Instead of going straight to Piplup and talking to them, if you just run immediately right after talking to Feraligatr, you'll hit the loading zone.
How about that? You learn something new every day.
So after talking to Piplup, they're like, hey, there's a Pokemon known as Bidoof in the other zone, go talk to it. Wow, this is some bad RNG. Normally this is the time where I would go get some friends, but I had some abysmal RNG. I did not see a single soul in sight that I get. So I'll just have to get them later, which is Slowpoke, Totodile, and Staravia. But from now, we attack the Drifloon, and we go to the Meadow Zone. And this is the only time we get this event cutscene. I mean, you get an event cutscene every time you take a travel or something like that, but after the first time you see it, you can just hit start to skip it, and that saves like 3 or 4 seconds every time. So this is the very first of the main fetch quests. I'm not going to count Munchlax as a fetch quest because it was right in front of him. But this one's by far... I wouldn't actually, they're all like equally annoying. Like, I can't really say which one's the most annoying, but they're pretty much all equally annoying in terms of length. They're like, I need lumber to build a house for my friend, my sister, my cousin, and my grandmother. So we have to go get them 4 pieces of lumber, which are just small bundle of sticks, but they somehow build into a giant, nice house. So we just have to go get them for them because they're all lazy.
I guess we should explain how the jump mechanic works, since that's actually important to this part of the run.
Yeah.
Jumping is really funky, and I honestly don't I don't think anybody fully understands how it works. You get momentum spontaneously when you jump. I don't know really how. You can do this to do momentum swaps, which hold next to no purpose in an actual speedrun, but are really stupid anyways. It's just an oversight, really. Something about how the jumping and the game tries to put your vertical velocity towards your horizontal, and so you gain speed. So you'll see Deathline after he hits boxes, he'll jump towards the lumber. And that's because that accelerates him faster than just walking, and so it'll save a little bit of time each box.
So speaking of RNG, on the third lumber, I go for the farthest one because Shinx is down there in that corner. Knowing my luck, the 2 Shinxes that start over there were in a chase, and I missed them. So I have to go back after I'm done with the lumber quests to go get them, because they're part of the friends that I need to make the friends list, or friends requirement. And this is kind of sucky because I'm going to be losing a ton of time, but that's really rare. Speaking of really rare other parts of RNG, there are things known as emotions in this game, though they're so extremely rare you will almost never see them. Much like Animal Crossing, the original one, if you bump into someone too much or other things, they can get angry, and if they're angry, they won't talk to you or give you a skill game. And the most common one is Ursaring, because Ursaring's always pissed off. But it's so rare you almost never see it. I'm going to pretend I'm not reading chat and didn't see what Poke just said. So I went in friend and Shinx, that's all fine. Finally got the 4th piece of lumber. Give that to Bidoof.
It should be noted that if he didn't get Ambipom on his first trip, if Ambipom was in a really bad position, he could get Ambipom back on this trip. But since he already has Ambipom, he doesn't have to worry about it.
It's actually slower to do Ambipom now, and the only reason why I would ever get Ambipom on this second trip to Metazone is because like I had absolutely abysmal RNG where Ambipom was on the other side of the Metazone. Oops, I hit the A button. That was not what I wanted. You always have to remember to talk to Bidoof after you're done with the fetch quest, otherwise they won't go to the beach zone. I've done this before. And before we go back to the beach zone, we need to friend... Where are they? Well, here's one of them. Here's actually both of them. We need to friend B-Barrel and Chimchar. B-Barrel we use in an upcoming attraction, and Chimchar is just part of the friend count that we need. Oops.
It should also be noted that certain Pokemon, such as the Shinx that we saw earlier, are actually completely different Pokemon. They're not just the same model with the same text boxes or anything like that. They are different, and they have different text boxes, and some of them can actually vary by a couple of whole text boxes.
See, there you saw me taking a few seconds to look around. RNG can be killer, and you can just not notice a Pokemon because they spawn so far away. But yeah, as Poke was saying, there are multiple of the same Pokemon, such as Slowtab. There's two, and there's two of Shinx's, and they're all actually unique. They have their own text boxes and their own sets, so we try to go for the most optimal one. Early game, I believe they all have like the same amount of text boxes, so it doesn't really matter. But there's a few in mid and late game that do matter, and I'll go over the most prominent one when we get to that one.
I think the difference in load tab is a matter of a few frames, but the Shinx actually do. One of the Shinx has a larger text box.
Yeah.
So the Shinx is like pretty much the only early game example where that can happen.
So Totodile is actually over here where he belongs, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk to him now.
Worst case scenario, he can get Staravia in the next zone, but it's really not preferred because it's not 100% guaranteed.
Yeah. I still need, so after getting Totodile, I still need Slowpoke and I still need Staravia. Staravia is definitely the worst, because Staravia flies in this game, and it can be completely 100% random. I see him way the heck back there. I'm gonna go chase him down right now, before I even remotely have to look for him again. I'm going like really far on my way for this, but for Staravia, it's kind of necessary, because he spends like a solid 20 seconds flying before he lands again, so... And... I'm on like a really bad spot for this battle to be. Seeing how like I'm on a hill, and how Staravia works during his battles is he takes air sometimes, and he'll do a sky attack or a quick attack from air, I don't know what it is. And that really depends on your vertical level. If you're doing this on a hill, it can get really screwed up.
I like how the Staravia just started walking.
Yeah, sometimes after you attack him, he'll immediately go back in the air, but other times, he won't really care, and he'll just start walking around before you attack him again. So Slowpoke's way the heck out here, but again, I need him, and I'm gonna go get him now, since he's not moving. And this right here, this zone, really determines what kind of pace your run's going to be on, since they're just so spread out, and you can have some really good RNG sometimes, or you can have some really bad RNG. And it's all dependent on what kind of RNG you get, which is kind of normal for a Pokemon game.
Yeah, just because this isn't a main series Pokemon game, there's definitely RNG in it. Tons. although it really lessens after the beach zone.
Yeah. The next zone is not super RNG heavy. The zone after that is kind of annoying. The zone after that is really annoying. And then after that it's kind of okay. But, so Bidoof's here, and they're like, okay, give me some lumber so I can build a bridge. And Carvana and Sharpedo are like, hey, Gyarados says you can't. But, Empoleon, who's the zone keeper of the iceberg and the beach zones, doesn't care apparently, but they're not going to let it happen. So we have to go beat one of the attractions, which is Pelipper's, Pelipper something.
Gosh, I'm drawing a blank too.
Something has to do with rings, but anyways, he's way over here on this cliff that we have to go deal with. Pelipper's ring circuit.
There we go.
Circle circuit. Oh, whatever. So for this we use Spearow. Why? I'm not really the one to ask. Poke's the one to ask because he's the one who chose which ones we use for the attractions. Again, it's mainly just based on either movement speed or what type of bonus we get after.
Staravia and Spearow function exactly the same inside the minigame, so the only thing that's different is that Spearow is smaller. But however, it's still really easy to get to the 9k bonus with either, and so Spearow's slightly closer in the menu, so we just go with Spearow.
So this minigame is really simple. You just kind of move the Wiimote around and you'll fly to it. Yellow rings are worth 100, red rings are worth 300, and rainbow rings are worth 1,000. You can play Pikachu in every single attraction, however these require passwords for the surfboard and the balloons, which are banned at 8%, but are required in 100%. So after defeating Pelipper's Circle Circuit, we just go and run on back to Bidoof. When's Pikachu percent for these runs? Never. If I'm gonna do Pikachu percent, I might as well just do a 100%.
It's any percent, but like 5 minutes longer.
Yeah. That's
If that.
Not worth doing. So once you do that, they're like, okay, you're cool. So Carvana and Torpedo will conveniently be our friends without having to do real much effort. And with that tiny little pile of sticks that we gave Bidoof, they somehow miraculously turn into a full-size bridge with flowers on the sides.
I always imagined that it was just they already had like a ton of wood ready, but they just needed a little bit more, so they were just like, alright, well, I just need a little bit more wood, and like, here, and then they do that like 3 times. What makes Pikachu percent longer? Pikachu is slower for the minigame, so it's probably not 5 minutes, it's probably more like 3.
And you still have to enter in the passwords.
Mm-hmm.
So, you befriended Why Not, got Piplup back, and they're like, oh, if you want prism pieces, they're from attraction holders. Attraction holders are the ones we've been talking to. They like to reiterate in this game a lot. At one point, they just like completely tell you the plot again. It's like really odd, but you just kind of have to deal with it. So, before we can continue, we have to get 2 more stacks of lumber. For Bidoof. And you see Slowpoke was right there. I could have gone Slowpoke now if I didn't choose to be impatient earlier, but I run the risk of him spawning on the other side of the beach and me not collecting him when I absolutely need him. because in this route and run, we generally don't ignore friend Pokemon. We get every single one that's listed, and that's solely because the ones that are listed are the fastest, and other ones take a lot longer, and they're a lot more erratic, and it's harder to get backup friends in this game if you miss one. So after building 3 bridges out of 2 little pieces of lumber, we can go ahead and go talk to Gyarados, who runs Gyarados' Aqua Dash. I also forgot to mention part of my movement. If you're dashing and if you hold down on the D-pad, Pikachu will skid to a stop. That's generally slightly slower than jumping out of a dash, but depending on the Y level, such as the height, it's sometimes faster to just skid to a stop. So for Gyarados' Aqua Dash, we're going to be using B-Barrel, and for this game, it's basically just a course. If you hold 2, you get your max speed up, and you just kind of have to go. You actually do need to hit almost all of these speed up boosts, or you won't make the bonus. This is probably up there in the top 3 where you have to be good, otherwise you won't make the bonus, because the bonus is actually finicky. You can miss, I believe, 2 of the speed boosts and you'll make the bonus, but it's really sketchy, so...
No 21. I can't believe this deathline. You didn't get a 21.
Where's your 21, Poke? I don't even see.
I'm not even seeing
a sub 230 IGT from you, so I don't want to hear it. So overall, that was a pretty bad beach zone. I lost about 30 seconds to RNG alone. So once we do that, we can use this conveniently built bridge. That's actually two bridge segments. To go talk to Feraligatr. And Feraligator's like, oh, you finally made Gyarados calm down? That's neat. I'll destroy this block that's in your way. Since we needed to talk to Lapras. Who's behind that rock. And before we move on, we also friend Feraligatr due to the sheer amount of berries that he gives as a friend. And since he's right there when we spawn, so. Feraligatr has 4 HP bars. I always interchange this fight with Thunderbolts and dashes. I think it's a few frames faster to Thunderbolt than it is to dash. So right here, instead of dashing, I'll just sidestep and Thunderbolt. I believe that's only a few frames faster though. So.
That sounds right. I seem to remember that too.
So Piplup comes over, he's like, what's this? Lapras is like, it's a balloon. Dummy. So, I always love that text box right there that I just kind of mashed through. Piplup's like, I'll take it to the meeting zone, I need someone sturdy to carry it. And he just doesn't like reference that the entire time after that. Like he doesn't say anyone who's sturdy and who will carry it, he's just like, I need someone sturdy to carry it. That's that. So Lapras is your only way to get to the Iceberg Zone until you talk to Drifblim in the Iceberg Zone. And what's kind of unfortunate of this route is that if you were to talk to Lapras a second time, it will become your friend, but it's just so much slower to ride Lapras back to the beach zone and then walk back to the meeting place.
Yeah, if the Drifloon stop was right by Lapras, it would be faster than getting Haunted Zone.
Thank you, Clever Pigeon, for the $6.54 donation.
Someone even the Haunted Zone. Mischievous?
Mischievous?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like. Okay, all right.
I think you're thinking of Primeape here.
Primeape or bust.
Primeape or bust. Nah, dude.
Yeah.
So, Lapras is like, just go up the middle slope, you find Empoleon back there, but Empoleon has hardened his heart in the steel will, so we're going to find out very shortly that the gate is frozen, and the only one who can break it down is the mighty Mamoswine. But since Mamoswine has been frozen due to an argument from him and Empoleon, we have to go get... well, first off, the lake is not frozen, so we need a way to freeze the lake. So we need Frostlass. And to get Frostlass, we need to get Glalie. And to get Glalie, we need to talk to Teddiursa. And this game is just a lot of redirecting the main goal. And here's what I was talking about earlier with Poke about how each Pokemon is unique when there's multiple of them. Two of these Teddiursas are quizzes, and one of them's a chase. And chase is always faster than a quiz. One of the Teddiursa will always be stationary, and that one is a quiz. So you only have to worry about picking. You only have a 50% chance of getting it right or wrong for the correct Teddiursa. And here's another small fetch quest for Glalie. Glalie wants. He's like, Frostlass is gone, but I want to impress her, so you can help me build some igloos. I've collected a lot of ice blocks. Go collect some more. And we get the farthest one away because Glalie has a rather abnormally large loading zone to talk to him, and he'll actually move you a bit closer if you grab the farther one away, and that saves a few steps. So after you build your first igloo, Primeape will come in. I accidentally talked to Glalie because I wasn't mashing 2. And that's what I meant earlier, you have to be mashing 2, otherwise it just won't pan out well. So another ice block is immediately to your right, and another one's immediately to your left. So, fairly simple.
Okay.
After you build the second igloo, Ursaring will come in.
Do you get Ursaring if he's on the way before you go to the slope?
Yes. If Ursaring is right there, then I will usually get him. But if he's not, then I'll get him on the way back. I recently used to have a split for when I was doing runs for Frostlass, but a lot of the time the Pokemon you get in the zone are really interchangeable between the segments. So I just kind of deleted that. See, this one I picked the wrong one, and I got the quiz one. So I'm gonna go talk to the other one now, and go chase. Ooh, Octillery's right here, so I'm gonna find Octillery right now instead of after we talk to Frostlass. This one gives a few more text boxes, but it still saves time if he's right on top of you when you're about to leave.
And before you literally get perfect Octillery RNG.
Yeah, that's generally how it works.
Yeah, because this is faster if you had to spend like 2 seconds or something out of your way to go get Octillery below. This one's faster if it's on the way. So I don't know. It's just the way it goes. It's kind of a risk, so we'll see if it pays off here. Obviously, it's not a huge time loss though. If it is.
So we go over the center slope, and seeing as I haven't gotten any red or golden berries yet, I have to break this box here up the middle slope, and hope. Of course it's a green berry, so I still have to collect some more. You need to collect 5 green berries, I believe it is, if you don't get any red or golden berries. Extra. So to use the chairlift to go talk to Frostlass, we need to defeat Pringlup. And also in this area of the iceberg zone, we have to be very careful of that center tree. It has a very large loading zone, and there's a long cutscene there, so we try to avoid that as best as we can.
Alright, so draw the chairlift. Can I read this donation?
Go for it.
Alright, cool. Alright, from our very own Clever Pigeon, we have $6.54, and they say, thanks for the opportunity to showcase Lemma. Best of luck to all the runners for the rest of the marathon. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your donation.
Kind reminder, if you have not put that toward a incentive, such as naming Frisk in Undertale or something else, go ahead and PM one of the staff members to put that towards that. So yeah, once we defeat Pringlup, we just run into the switch and we go on the lift, and then now we talk to Frostlass.
I cry every time I realize that Frostlass can't get quick killed.
Yeah.
I cry.
Sadly,
it's right by an ocean.
Sadly, even though there are fencing and there are areas without the fence, the entire wall is blocked off, so you can't quick kill anyone here. Almost sub 57 Frostlass. That's actually pretty average.
That's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
Considering all the RNG that happened.
Just for reference, like how much the route has changed. Oh wow, these runs are. It used to be where a sub 1 hour Frostlass was considered like near impossible, but
oh yeah.
After a lot of work, we've gotten it down to like sub 56 potential if you're really fast.
And get good RNG.
Here we, for Quagsire, we just give him the big berry, but I had, of course, to get like the worst Quagsire RNG and make me walk all the way. The Octillery was actually kind of far out of the way, so that's okay.
I think it was probably worth it. I think it ended up being kind of worth it.
It probably would have been about even. I might have saved like half a second on doing that, so. So we go ahead and run back over to where Glalie and everyone else is, and talk to Frostlass. So Frostlass will go ahead and use Blizzard to freeze the lake so you can reach your Mamoswine.
I guess going back to the sub 1 hour Frostlass thing, it might seem like wow, I can't believe the routing saved 4 minutes. Although it's really not, because it wastes a little bit more time past Frostlass, so it is more like 3 minutes of time save rather than 4. Still, it's quite impressive to see it drop that much.
So before I go and unfreeze Mamoswine, I'm gonna go ahead and friend Ursaring and Glalie. And the only reason why I get them now is because once you unlock Mamoswine, you instantly get teleported up to the top of the hill by the gate, and it's quite a trip back down. Ursaring can only be found over here by the igloos, so you just look around the igloos. You'll find him. Of course, the worst would be all the way behind. Glalie stays stationary right in front of the first igloo all the time, so I was like, freaking... Okay, I've never seen that before. That was a cool strat. Okay, watch what I just did for Glalie. That was the coolest thing ever. I didn't know you can do that.
Oh! Slid! You slid, dude. The ice physics. Oh, that's funny.
The more you learn, but... So yeah, so here's where my minor route change comes in compared to Poke's. Up on that slope there, the left-hand slope, there's Primate. Primate will walk up and down that slope, which I have referred to the RNG walk of shame. And if he's at the top of the slope, you lose upwards of 20 seconds, or 25 seconds. But if he's at the bottom of the slope, you can save some time, which is like really minor. So I've decided to change him out for Piloswine after we defeat Empoleon. If only not for Piloswine being slightly faster in the actual fight, and because he doesn't move ever. And I have estimated this to be about 20 seconds faster if you get the absolute worst RNG when Primate's at the top of the hill. So after that, we just kind of dash into the gate. And now we go talk to Empoleon. So out of nowhere, Piplup comes in. He's like, I can slide with skill, I can do it, but we actually don't use Piplup for this attraction. We use Glalie. And for that reason, ask Poke.
Glalie something like 7 seconds faster than Piplup, so Glalie just moves faster. Like, it's nothing like Glalie is faster on the menu like Spearow is. It's just Glalie just moves faster and gets faster times.
So this is Empoleon's Snow Slide. It is one of the longest, I believe the longest attraction. Kind of same physics as Gyarados' Aqua Dash. You hold 2 to pick up your max speed, and you have flags to boost your speed. If you run into the walls or anything, you will slow down. The bonus on this is a bit less finicky to make than Aqua Dash is. Like you can see I'm gonna miss quite a few of these speed boosts, and I'll still be able to make the bonus with ease.
Also, by the way, Rayquaz's attraction is the longest.
Oh, yeah.
This is the second longest,
Whatever.
though.
It feels like the longest.
It does seem to take a while.
Oh, wow. I got a 43 flat, and that's not a very good time. The bonus is 48 seconds, so I missed quite a number of speed boosts, but I'm still fine.
Yeah, there is some stuff in this game that makes it very apparent that this game was meant for kids. It does have very Saturday morning dialogue. However, just playing through the game is quite fun. So it still retains some value of it.
So overall, this Iceberg Zone was kind of meh. I would say I've lost like 40 seconds to movement and RNG in total, which is kind of not great as far as Iceberg Zone goes, but it's still, this run is still on a really good pace for Marathon. So after defeating Empoleon, that stuff, immediately we hop out of the gate and talk to Piloswine here. And I abuse, this is the only time we abuse this. Since you're right next to the gate, which is considered out of bounds, you can actually dash past it while you're in the middle of the battle, and Piloswine won't be able to do anything. And if you wait until, if you're in the out of bounds while Piloswine's invincibility frames, it doesn't know what to do since they can go out of bounds with you, and it just kind of moves around. And this is like a giant time save over doing Primeape. And someday I'll convince Poke to use him in his route. Get out of the way, sorry. So if there's a box right here. Yay, red berry! So we don't have to get any more berries. So after that, we go to this Drifloon stop that's right here next to the tree and the lift, and we talk to Drifloon. We go to the meeting place. I guess I should mention something about battles. Battles don't work quite the way they do in mainstay Pokemon games. Pokemons do have type in this game, such as Piloswine having an Ice and Ground type, and other things like that. Go away, Piplup, and Ash too. If they are part Ground type, your Thunderbolt won't be able to affect them, but if they're like Rock type, it won't really matter.
It should also be noticed that this game is inconsistent, because while you can't Thunderbolt a Ground type, you can totally Quick Attack a Ghost type.
Yeah. So here are the rest of the Pokemon tutors. Ponyta, Bibarel, and Primeape. We talked to Ponyta twice here to get our dash upgraded, and from now on the run's going to go so much faster. Bibarel upgrades your HP bar, and Primeape teaches you Iron Tail, which you use by shaking the Wiimote. But now you can tell we're going to go a lot faster.
It should be noted that if we had a ton of extra berries with this route, and we were able to buy Iron Tail, it would actually save time. But since berry is already limited as it is, it's not worth going out of your way to get enough berries to buy Iron Tail.
Yeah. Also, Poke, you became really quiet all of a sudden.
Alright, here, is that better?
Yes.
Alright, cool. Alright.
You're not wearing your headset?
No, I was.
Why did you
It was just like, I think it just bent away, and I moved it back forward.
Yes, that sounds a lot better.
I mean, I can repeat it though, but if we were able to get Iron Tail without grinding a bunch of extra berries, it would be faster, but since our berry route is already limited, we don't need to.
Yeah. So this is the wonderful Cavern Zone, also known as RNG Hell.
Just Cavern Zone.
The first part is that one of the rails has been stolen and is missing. We need to go find that so we can get the minecart back up and running. So here's Mawile, who's a total, like, sass master. And she's like, this place kind of sucks, no one wants to be here, blah blah blah. Mr. Mime tells you to talk to Zubat, and that's not really necessary at all, seeing how it is the next part of the game always has a speech bubble above their head, so it always tells you where you need to go. So once you talk to Aaron here, he was like, I need some iron ore, which is conveniently in this box right here. Aaron can appear from anywhere down here to like way down there by the mine tracks. This is kind of average RNG, I would say, for him. He can appear really far away.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
So once you give him iron ore, he'll be your friend, and then he'll be like, why did that cutie Mawile eat the rail? And Mawile can appear anywhere from down here to like way in the corner of the mine tracks or on that bend. So this right here is kind of average, I would say. And this is by far the second most annoying chase in the game. Mawile's jaws on the top of her head, they will knock you away and any other Pokemon away that touch them. So you have to attack her from an angle, but how it works is Pikachu is like automatically kind of drawn to the back of the Pokemon, and he'll just kind of magnet into the jaws a lot of the time. So second try Mawile's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, I should also note, as an interesting bit of trivia, is that Aaron calls the Mawile a cutie, which is really weird considering that Aaron is not in the same egg groups as Mawile, so forbidden love? I don't know. It's kind of weird though.
Hey man, if a Whaler and a Skitty can mate, then I'm sure they could too.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up what their egg groups are.
So,
I'm gonna look it up.
before we move on to talk to Marowak, or after Dark Trail said that, we break that box open and the Magmite's in there. So now we're going to talk to Cranidos. This is what I was talking about earlier. Cranidos is a rock type, but you can totally just use Thunderbolt on him with no repercussions.
Yeah, okay, so Aaron is in the Monster Egg group, and Mawile is in the Field and Fairy Egg groups. So, that's a nice meme. Oh yeah, another thing too is that this game really isn't canon at all, but it's also interesting to note that in the Pokemon canon, which apparently includes the anime recently, Pokemon are always referred to as it, but for some reason in PokéPark, Pokemon are given genders and pronouns, which is kind of funky. I don't know, it's kind of weird to note.
So, we friend Cranidos. We use him in an attraction later, and we friend Magnemite just because once you unlock him after breaking the box, if you just talk to him, he'll become your friend for whatever reason. So, here's the berry storage where they keep all the berries in boxes. But Marowak's like, you look sketchy, and I haven't seen anyone with a rail, so you're obviously lying, so I'm gonna fight you. And unfortunately, since Marowak is part ground type, you can't Thunderbolt him, so you have to jump over his Boomerang and just tackle him.
Yeah, the game gives you a tutorial before you fight Marowak, or Marowak I should say, gives you the tutorial. And he's like, you can't use your electric moves on me, even though you already had to fight ground type Pokemon before, so I don't get it.
So we break this box right here, and out comes Diglett. And Diglett is like, it's under Sleeping Snorlax, so. Oops. You can't dash, you can dash them some Pokemon, because they're so light, you can knock them away, but some Pokemon you will just completely get stunned by. So we go ahead and break that box there and take this big berry over with us. As far as getting here from the top NES, there are no ways to attack a Pokemon, or get them from the top. There aren't any like ground level changes in terms of chase.
I'm not sure about how that works either. I feel like if you were to jump on top of Mawile though, with the still dash animation, because as we said earlier, jumping does cancel dash, but if you were somehow, I don't know, like you were saying maybe a hill or something, it might be possible, but I also feel like Mawile's Jaws hitbox is way too big for that.
Yeah.
So.
Plus there are no hills that Mawile goes over in the cavern zone, so.
Yeah, I mean the ground's a little bit like the ground's a little bit unsteady, but it's basically like flat. There's not any like large hills. It's just kind of small. So.
So talking to Snorlax, he's like, "I'll get up. Don't hit your Thunderbolt," which is an obvious lie. So you have to toss down your berry, hit him with Thunderbolt, and then give him the big berry, and then he'll move. And then the hot spring will come back after quote unquote drying up. So. After getting Snorlax out of the way, Phanpy and Raichu come in. Phanpy is a hide and seek, and Raichu is a chase. We friend Raichu, but also the rail is here. So if I can pick this up, Pikachu's really finicky about his grab range. So. So while taking this all the way back to Mr. Mime, on the way I'm going to quickly check this Drifloon stop. You can check things while holding an item and you won't drop them, but if you decide to play an attraction or a skill game with someone, you have to drop it. Oh, this is such a good RNG. Alright, screw it. I'm going to get Raichu. So, we get Raichu and Torchic. I'm only going to get Raichu now just because Raichu gives the same amount of text boxes before and after you give back the rail, but Torchic gives about 5 extra text boxes before you give back the rail. So, as you noticed, I dropped the rail, and then I started the chase. That was really good RNG. Raiju is one of the rear ones when chasing. He takes really zigzaggy paths, and it's possible to complete his chase in under 3 seconds, which is really good. So, here's the walk of shame. I have to walk at this speed while holding this item all the way back to Mr. Mime. This is definitely one of the downtimes during the run, which just adds to the time.
Mr. Mime! Mr. Mime!
So, once you put back the rails, like, I need the minecart back, and conveniently Gibble's right here. And Gibble's like, but I want to play with it, so if you can beat me in a skill game, then I'll play against you, and blah blah blah. So, Gibble is Dragon Ground type, so you can't use Thunderbolt on him.
Oh, I had it switched, by the way. Gibble is the one that tells you that you can't use Thunderbolt and not Marowak, but you already had to fight Marowak, which is the ground type. My bad.
Mr. Mime!
So once you get the minecart back and everything, Mr. Mime will be your friend, and you can check the minecart right there to go to the end of the cavern zone. But before we do that, we need to get some friends and clear an attraction first. So, ooh, this is really good RNG. Right here is Torchic. This little guy can completely murder your run, seeing as he has a very specific render distance, and he can be at any part, almost any part of the cavern zone. So he can be way at the back and you won't even notice him, seeing how his Torchic's like 5 inches tall. I don't know Torchic's canonical height, but it's really annoying in this game. And
look it up.
we also go ahead and friend Diglett, because he just talks to you. You talk to him and he'll friend you. And we actually also talk to Drifblim here. And this is a really good use of the route. After you talk to Drifblim enough, he'll give you a discount, and he'll be your friend. So we just talk to him and friend him, and then we just quit out of the flying menu. And with that, we have exactly 50 friends, which is one of the checkpoints needed for Bastiodon's Block Barrage.
Huh, I just looked it up. Apparently Torchic's 1'4", and I was like, wow, Torchic seems really small to Pikachu. How tall is Pikachu? And then Pikachu's also 1'4".
But Torchic is shorter than Pikachu in this game.
Yeah, very clearly.
So we play Bastiodon's Block Barrage with Pikachu. The goal is 4,000, the bonus is 2,500. So we have to just get 4,000, otherwise it won't work. Basically, this is kind of like Pong, or Ping Pong. You just kind of knock a ball back and forth. If you hit 2, you do a power shot, and that doubles whatever the score is, the number is, on the board up there. Also, I actually got way too much. I was not paying attention while talking.
That was a really well done though. You got the score really fast.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to control, but if you can kind of aim the ball to where you want it, and if you can keep hitting the same number, it gets higher and higher, and you can get a good score really fast.
That was a nice Dugtrio on the last one too. Those Dugtrio are RNG, and where Pikachu hits the ball is also RNG, so that was really nice. A little bit of time save at the end.
So that was a really good segment for Bastion's Block Barrage. Do good RNG overall and just good gameplay. The only way you can really go faster for that is to be absolutely ballsy and not talk to Raichu or Torchic before giving the rail back. Seeing as you have to drop the rail, which costs 2 seconds every time you do that to drop and pick it up. So it really just comes down to RNG whether your segments are good or not. So before we leave to the next zone, which is known as the Lava Zone, we talked to Dugtrio, and Dugtrio will be your friend. And there's a strat that we kind of tried to incorporate in our past routes, especially me. While Poke has made the current route, I have made at least 6 or 7 routes and used all of them at least once or twice for PB and then changed my route again. And there's a thing called Dugtrio Early, where we get Dugtrio before playing Bastion's Block Barrage to get an extra friend, since you need 50. So in the event
Go ahead.
In the event that you miss one, we get him, but yeah.
Yeah, every time we attempted to put Dugtrio early into the route, it was always slower. It would be like for one day it would be like, oh man, Dugtrio early is in this route, and then the next day it'd be like, no, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not optimal.
It's so sad though, because it was like, it seems cool to do, but it's always slower.
Yeah. So once you enter, Hitmontop will be like, this is the drill, blah blah blah, go talk to Camera Up and see what the furnace is about. And Camera Up will fight you. Again, Camera Up's part ground type, so you have to use quick attack. Unfortunately. And so he'll give you a spiel on how to use the furnace. And then you'll be like, they call you Lightning Strike. And you're like, what is Lightning Strike? I'm Lightning Strike. Blaziken's watching our actions and he calls us Lightning Strike because we strike like lightning, I guess.
I don't know. Gotta go fast, I guess.
Yeah, gotta go fast. Okay. We also friend Magby. There are 2 Magbys. I believe they have the same amount of text boxes, so...
I think so too.
I think one of them is like maybe 2 frames faster than the other, but...
Maybe.
It's not really noticeable. Out of the way. So once we defeat Camera Up and friend Magby, we go ahead and come back up here. The drill's now not overheated, and we talk to Hitmontop. And since in the Lava Zone, battle is law before anything else, you have to battle Hitmontop before you can use the drill. And what's really annoying about Hitmontop is that he won't become your friend after. You friend him a different way that we don't do in any percent.
It's so frustrating too. It would have been so good as a free friend in this route, because the way the route works out is it ends up being kind of frustrating to have that one extra friend, and Hitmontop would have made everything so much easier.
Definitely. But he'll still give you 50 berries, even if he won't be your friend, and he'll unlock Hitmonchan. So we turn around, hit the drill, and get your gold nugget plisses out. Pray to heaven it's not a gold nugget bliss.
Shoutouts to Gold Nugget.
Okay, good. So the story about this is that the drill can either give you iron ore or gold nuggets. And for any percent, we only want iron ore, and we only need 2 of them. But there is a possibility of getting a gold nugget, but apparently the internet doesn't know what the actual possibility is of this. And from the amount of runs I've done, I'm gonna assume it's like a 3 out of 10 chance. And
yeah, my guess is just it's a 1 out of 4, somewhere around there. It's probably somewhere in that range.
and it's just completely random. Every time you get a gold nugget, you lose 25 seconds, I believe it is, or something like that, 20 to 25 seconds.
I'm not quite sure off the top of my head.
Just for reference, though, a long time ago when I was actively running this game for a world record, I had like a 228 real-time attack time, and I got 3 gold nuggets in a row, and I lost over a minute 10. So it is really, really unlucky to get that many in a row. Three's my max of how many I've gotten in a row so far, but that's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
So the only reason why we need 2 iron ores is because, first off, we need to make an iron bar. Well, once you make it something from the furnace, golem appears, but that's not relevant right now. Go away. The switch over here to turn this these fire spires off, the lever's broken, so we need to make an iron lever bar thing, and we need to insert that back into the switch, and then we can go ahead and tackle the switch. Also, if you saw earlier, I was talking to Torkoal. Torkoal was solely made to be a jerk. That's it. There's no other explanation. There's a bunch of Torkoals here up on the hill, and a lot of them will be pissed off a good amount of the time, and they'll attack you for no good reason.
Alright, well here we go, second time.
Pray, 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 pray. Yay! No good nuggets! That's really good. That was a really good segment.
Alright, solid work.
I'm really happy. That was one of my main concerns, because that just tacks on time.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. And the second reason why we need a second iron ore is because we need to make an iron top to play the next attraction, Rhyperior's Bumper Burn. And unfortunately, you have to have an iron top to play. You can't friend Torkoal, who is a playable character for Rhyperior's Bumper Burn, and just play as him. You have to come in with an iron top first. Oh my god! Go away! See, that's exactly what I mean. They'll get pissed off and they'll attack you.
Yeah, they literally are made for nothing else.
And also, to make sure, you have to menu down, hit round, and not make 2 straights. Okay.
What's up?
Didn't you make 2 straight iron bars?
Oh, yeah. It was, I was like, alright, let's not get gold nuggets, and then I didn't get any gold nuggets, and then I made another lever, and I was like, come on, dude, and then I got a gold nugget, and I was like, ah! It was awful.
So
It is one of the worst things that's ever happened to me in this game.
If you talk to Golem, he'll instantly become your friend. In exchange for iron tops and all that stuff that you can make with gold nuggets and iron ore, he'll give you berries. And that's something that we abuse in 100%, except there's only been one 100% run, and I eventually plan on getting around to routing that someday. Someday.
100% world record is not optimal.
No, it's not. It could probably be about half an hour faster. So we go ahead and play Rhyperior's Bumper Burn with Pikachu. The only other friend we have at the time is Magnemite, and I believe Magnemite is just not as good to use or whatever, so. So for this, it's much like just playing a top game. If you knock someone else out, you get some points, and your points multiply each time. And this game could go really well, or it could go really badly. Like, I've had some times where I almost lost this minigame. Once you get knocked out, your multiplier resets. About halfway through the minigame, though, there are these little power-ups. If you hit the 2 button and use them, you'll get a vortex around you, and they won't be able to, you won't get knocked back at all. And if a Pokemon who's spawning in lands on top of you when you have the vortex going, they'll instantly get ringed out, but you won't get any points from them.
Clever Pigeon did tell us where they wanted their donation to go, so now we have the name option Dalvin for Undertale up. And that has $6 and how much is that? $6.54 on it.
So here's yet another prison piece.
Is that the halfway mark for the prison pieces?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, if you notice, our run is the run is over halfway done. It's just that the beginning of the run has a lot of fanfare around it, so...
And the fact that the first hour and like 10 minutes is without any dash upgrades.
Yeah, that too.
So once you defeat Rhyperior's Bumper Burn, you'll finally meet Charmander again, and instead of being all happy, you'll just challenge him to a fight. And there's also an error in his text. It says that he came down to the lava zone after bumping into the mysterious tunnel, and that he was about to fall into lava. But terminology-wise, lava refers to magma outside of the volcano. So coming up next, we have Meditite. This is the second out of the 4th quiz in the game, and it's the only one that you actually don't have to click yes to. So as we keep moving on, there's a number of Pokemon up here. The only one we talked to is Ponyta. For 2 reasons. I believe we need to talk to Ponyta for a dash upgrade. I'm not sure if it's directly correlated to befriending Ponyta or just being in the lava zone.
It's different name, Ponyta.
Okay. So, oh my god. So Ponyta knocked someone else out of the way who blocked me. Ponyta will also leave these Ember Trails, which if you hit, they knock you down. And another thing that's really annoying about this game is that Ponyta, this area is a giant circle, and Ponyta will run around, and you can't change the camera during a race or a battle, a chase or a battle. It's completely stationary and it's stuck. You can't change it at all. So if your camera goes like completely sideways, you're 100% screwed, and you have to deal with it. So before we can continue on, we have to battle Farfetch'd, and he says, defeating me won't be easy, but he only has 2 HP bars, which is the lowest that any Pokemon can have. So that's really funny. So we dash into this switch, and this will start a little cutscene. This will bring down the drawbridge here. We run across and we talk to Macargo, who's guarding the gate. And he's like, you want to go through the gate? That's cool and all, but you have to defeat Bastiodon's thing and Rhyperior's thing before you come in here. So, I mean, we've already done that. It'd be far slower to go back for those anyways, so...
Now if we could skip Mad Cargo, that'd be insane for the speed run.
Yeah. He alone wastes about 30 seconds, but this game unfortunately doesn't have like any major glitches or skips yet.
Yeah, hopefully one day maybe, but signs aren't pointing in a positive direction. PokéPark 2 on the other hand.
Yeah, PokéPark 2 is broken.
Tepig to win.
So, Blaziken's like, I want to be a chief of the PokéPark, so battle Charmander first, because I'm too scared to fight you. And Charmander has now been buffed from 2 HP to 4. So, we go ahead and just do our normal fight routine. It is faster though to dash instead of Thunderbolt if you're right on top of them, except I hit the A button anyways. If you're doing the sidestep method, that when you're right in front of them, it's faster to dash into them when they have 4 HP instead of Thunderbolt, but it doesn't really matter, it's only a few frames. So coming up next is Blaziken's Boulder Bash. Again, we play this with Pikachu. Fairly simple, and I believe the reason is because this game is kind of an auto-scroller. It's 30 seconds long, and Pikachu's bonus is the easiest to make.
There's no reason to pick anybody else, it's just... It's the same.
So your points accumulate every time you break a boulder, and there are 2 ways to break a boulder. You either kind of half break it, or you completely smash it. And when you smash it, you get 300, and if you half break it, you only get 100. But as long as you just hit the boulder without losing your multiplier, you'll always win, even if you get all 100s. So overall, this lava zone was pretty average. I would say I only lost like 10 or 15 seconds to RNG. That's mainly just Ponyta.
Yeah, not too bad. Definitely could have been worse. Gold Nugget.
Yeah, definitely could have been worse. And what's really annoying is that Venusaur and Empoleon will always have you be aligned with the exit. Blaziken is slightly offset, and you can't like just jump backwards and dash because you'll almost always run into that sign, which I did. And it's just a weird developer insight, like why they made it like that. There are 2 ways to get out of this zone. You can either go, you can hit the switch right here and turn off the fire spiders and go all the way around, or you can come back the way you came. I have never really gotten around to timing it fully, but I do think going back the way you came is slightly faster by a few seconds.
I have no idea. Hero says that hitting the switch is a couple seconds faster, and when I timed it to almost even.
I don't know.
So I'm just kind of like, okay. And so I just hit the switch. That's what I do.
I personally think it's a few seconds faster to just not hit the switch. But since we're done with the lava zone, we can go ahead and just talk to Driftbloom anyways, and go back to the meeting place. And as you complete each zone, you can notice that the treehouse is getting bigger and bigger. So, Piplup has been working on our balloon that has our face on it, because we're the mascot, and we're all happy, and then we realize there's a giant hole in it that we somehow didn't notice in the first place. And so this is one of the points where I'm just really confused as to why they put this in the game. They say, chat comes saying you have a message from you saying you need to collect the prism pieces. And they're like, so Pikachu's dream wasn't just a dream, and like, where's the Sky Pavilion and stuff, but we're already an hour 40 into this run. We have 8 out of 14 prism pieces, and they're now just reiterating that you need to collect prism pieces. And it's really odd to me that they did that. So, once you defeat Lava Zone, you talk to Ponyta again, and he'll teach you an ability that doesn't cost any berries whatsoever, known as Double Dash. And this is basically you get an extra speed boost after dashing if you dash at a correct time interval. Like that. You'll see like the speed force thing coming in. So now it's time for my favorite zone in the game, the haunted zone. And Haunted Zone doesn't really have too much RNG. It's basically just getting your double dashes down perfectly. And while that may seem easy, the actual mansion in the Haunted Zone has a lot of tight corners and makes it very hard for movement.
It's very technical.
This is also the only zone in any percent that we don't talk to the Drifloon stop in, just because it's way out here by the beginning of the zone anyways. So it's slower to get Drifloon down, talk to him, waste the berries just to go back to the meeting place when we just take like a few extra steps down there anyways. So before we can go into the mansion, we need to talk to Tangrowth here and defeat his attraction for Tangrowth swing along. This we play with Raichu for whatever reason, I don't know. But this is basically Venusaur's Vine Swing, but just multiple of the same thing. Nice auto grab, and I fell down. If you fall down, you lose your momentum. This game is really technical, and you have to be really good at it to get a good time. Poke here is the undeniable world record holder with Celebi in this game.
And Raichu. I have Raichu as well.
I got a low 7-second time, but it's possible to get a 6-second time.
Yeah, Tangrowth's swing along is like one of those places where like you can save time if you do it really well, but since almost nobody does it really well in a run, just kind of happens, you know?
Yeah, it's really hard to do really well in a run. Because you have to swing before you're at the lowest point, because momentum carries you. And it's really hard because you go really fast.
And the IL strat for Raichu is definitely not run safe.
No,
and if you miss the IL strat, you lose like 3 seconds. So,
per try.
Yeah.
So talk to Drifloon, and you're like, cool, you defeated the attraction, so now you can go inside the mansion. So after the best loading screens of all time, Duskull will be like, hey, you're the 999th visitor. Having that trope in this game. Like, why not 1,000? Why not 1,001? Like, come on. So Duskull will kind of just guide you through the haunted zone and kind of show you what's here. First up, he's showing you like where the attraction is, which we'll be going over in a little bit. Next up, we have the library, which we can't access yet. And finally, we have the ballroom, where ghost Pokemon have scary parties, and we have to defeat the attraction before we can go in. So now we just turn around, and Ghastly, with his long loading zone range, they'll be like, hey, I want to show you something, so come up here. There's an attraction select mode. Yes, there is on the main menu. It's an arcade kind of type thing, where you can just play it as you see fit.
Ghastly.
So once you talk to Ghastly, he'll open all these doors very slowly for you. This is one of the more annoying parts about Haunted Zone, is that they open all the doors individually and then give you a text box saying that they opened. And this is what Poke was talking about earlier, how you can kind of just quick attack a ghost type. Because we're going to be friending Ghastly here, and he plays Chase. And the strat for this is you just dash into a jump and you instantly hit him. But quick attack is a normal move, or normal type move, and Ghastly is a pure ghost type. So they shouldn't be able to hit each other. But After that, we just go into the next room, the adjacent room, and Gengar will be in this painting, and you talk to him, and then you'll hear some bells ringing, and this means Dusknoir is back, and you can start playing his attraction again. Gengar does not come out of the painting until you have like a ton of friends that we don't have in any percent. Also, this movement is very hard and not good. Oh my god, Pikachu. So this is Dusknoir's Speed Slam. For this we use Cranidos, for God knows why. Okay, you're the guy. Why do we use Cranidos?
Our options are limited, and I don't remember this attraction very well. I'm sorry, I don't actually remember. I do remember Cranidos was faster.
Yeah, I believe Cranidos is the fastest out of the 3 options we have at the time. 988 is actually not bad at all for that.
Ooh, that's actually a pretty good time. The fastest you can get with Cranidos is 909. Something like that? 911?
Yeah, it's a very low 9. And this attraction actually has some RNG built into it. You have brick walls that you have to break through, and Spinnerets come down from the ceiling. And the amount of Spinnerets you get is completely random. But you will always minimum get 3.
Yeah, it's kind of weird for a mini game like that to have RNG. But it does, and it can vary your times within about a second. So it's not a huge time loss, but it still exists.
There, I accidentally skidded to a stop instead of jumping, but that's whatever.
Wow. Reset.
Reset. So, talking to Dusko, he'll open the door for you. And we just dash over to the main room where you find Pichu, Dusko, a bunch of Drifloons, Ghastly, Haunter, and Mischievous. And Pichu's like, yeah, I'm not afraid, they're all cool, but Mischievous is in some dire need of help. So, they haven't been partying because one of the wires in the piano has been broken. So, we, an outsider from the Haunted Zone, have to go get it because they're too lazy to go pick it up themselves.
More like they can't hold it because they're all ghosts.
Make Pichu hold it.
What? It's just like carried around Pichu's neck, like dragging his neck to the floor.
Yeah. Haunter has hands. There's an L kid in here.
There's an Ellie kid.
There's also an Abra and a Breloom.
That's still funny though. But yes, this is the longest walk with the hold item in the game, and it is excruciating.
Yeah, it's definitely not fun. I believe this is the second to last fetch quest in the game. And
yeah, the last one is the mirror.
So before we even talk to the Spinnerack in the side room, we talk to Abra because he's like, if you're sleepy, you should sleep, which is the best advice ever. And then we just auto-friend him.
It's the precursor to Nintendo's don't forget to take a break before you get tired.
Yeah. So I talk to Spinnerack and he'll be like, here, take some thread. And this is like some really thick-ass wire for a piano. Like, I don't want to say anything like that, but like it's really big. Like, when I first played this game so many years ago, I thought this was a rope.
It does look like a rope. Looks like somebody tried to retexture a rope model.
And so, yes, we have to take this from that room all the way back to Mr. Viss, and it is the longest walk in the game. It's longer than the rail in the Cavern Zone by, like, what is it, 15 seconds or something? 10 seconds?
I want to say 13, that sounds right, but I could just be making that up. It's around there, though.
Yeah, it's just a few seconds longer, but this is still not fun. And there are a lot of tight turns in the Haunted Zone, especially those lobby stairs. Pikachu can only turn so wide when he's holding an item, so it takes quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and probably the reason why it makes it feel so long is you have to go to that big lobby area, which just like feels like it takes forever, even though it doesn't really, because everything's so grand in this mansion.
So talk to Mr. Vis, and she says you get a pat on the back from me, even though she doesn't have any way to pat you on the back. But
Never noticed that.
that'll fix the piano. And Miss Magius, who's the lady of the house, will come out of the library, which you can now access. And here's actually a part of the route that I helped make quite some time ago with Poke. We friend Mr. Vis now. We used to not do this, but I recently found that Mr. Vis is actually really easy to friend and really fast too.
Mr. Vis was the one I was talking about. Like, if we got Hitmontop as a friend, all this Mr. Vis timing shenanigans wouldn't have had to take place.
Yeah.
It would have been overall much easier on us, but the Hitmontop just doesn't want to be our friend, so you know how that is.
What's going on, Jim Freak?
That was a really good dash, though.
Yeah, and part of the reason why I picked Mr. Vis as a friend and Poke accepted it is because if you just do one dash into a double dash, you can always hit Mr. Vis no matter what, since she takes a standard path every single time. So talk to Duskull and be like, hey, there's a book missing in the wall, and conveniently just down the room there's a Sableye with a book. And here's the third quiz out of the 4 in the game. So once you defeat Sableye in his quiz, he'll just automatically give you the book. Don't talk to Duskull. We just go away from him and check the wall, or the bookcase, and that'll insert the book into there, and then huzzah! There's a secret passage. And immediately stage right and go down the stairs. And down here, you can find the Zone Keeper, Rotom, who you need 65 friends to play his attraction. We have like 67 or something, so. 30 berries, you can play Rotom's Spooky Shoot 'em Up. And for this game, we play as Abra, because Abra is the easiest to use, and because the goal is the same as the bonus. So it's just fastest to use Abra. All sorts of Pokemon will appear. Gastly's take 1 shot, Haunters take 2, and Rotoms take 2. Gastly's take 100. Oh boy. Gastly's are 100. I didn't mean to shoot him. Gastly's are 100, Haunters are 300, and Rotoms are 1,000. Yeah, quizzes, as far as they go, there are a number of questions that they can ask. Some quizzes in this game only have like 3 or 4 questions, but the answers will always be the same. There won't be random answers. It's just the spots that they appear in are random. But Sableye and Meditite have a number of questions, I believe. Corsair only has like 5 or 6. Porygon Z.
5.
Porygon Z only has 4, I want to say, or 5. But in any case, it's just, they're all really fairly easy to memorize. There's one question that can be really annoying to memorize, and that's Sableye's, can I play Dusknoir Speed Slam? And the answer is no, actually, he cannot. Even though it seems like he would be able to. So once
Why
you...
not? Why not maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, no, or maybe.
Just no. So once you're done with that, Miss Magius will be like, hey, it's at the end of the granite zone where there's a promise and stuff. So now we do our double dashes out of the mansion. Those were actually some pretty good double dashes after my fiasco in the ballroom. But before we leave, I'm actually going to head back and talk to Drifloon right here. You can actually talk to the Drifloon inside the mansion if they're close enough. But this one's always standard right here. And we're also going to tackle these two trees on opposite sides of the door. On the right tree, when facing the doors, Kakuna falls down. And he'll be your friend just by talking to him. And on the left tree, you have Metapod. And he'll be your friend after talking to him. If these guys will only be your friends after you find Rotom and defeat his attraction. But I always like that line from Metapod after you friend him. You have a heart unaffected by unimportant things. I think that's like a good message for kids from playing this game. Because I care about the kids.
I'm looking out for the children. We're looking out for all the children here, promoting St. Jude's Children's Hospital, raising money for them, for the kids.
In case you didn't know, Sweet Stuff for Charity 2 is hosting for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. We're actually almost all the way through our goal. So if you can donate, it would be greatly appreciated. We have some donation incentives left.
It's Link's Awakening is if we get 300 total, and then we name Frisk and Undertale.
Yeah.
Those are the two that we have left. Our goal is actually $400 total, but our last bonus game is at 300, which will be Link's Awakening, done by Hidden Scope, which will be a couple runs before the end of the marathon.
So that's at the end of today. So we only need just a bit more. So if you want to see that, get your donations in.
It's a good run. Link's Awakening is a good speed game.
So after we come back, we get a small text box. We talk to Ponyta for the final speed upgrade for a whopping 1,500 berries. And that'll be that. Now we're at the fastest we can possibly go. Double dash is completely irrelevant now. It's slower to do double dash than it is just to mash dash again. So we only use double dash for the haunted zone.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because the double dash does actually have you actually do have to really learn it, and it takes some getting used to, but you only use it for like 10 or so minutes in this run. And so it kind of feels weird and just immediately drop it afterwards, but it does save some time every time you get that double dash.
So this is the second to last zone in the game. This is the Granite Zone. Kind of like the ancient atmosphere. This zone is pretty cool, but I'm not really a fan just because of the running around you have to do. Like, you have to do a lot of running around the zone, like the entire zone.
Alright, I know we're going to explain it when it comes up, but when's password skip?
Please.
Please.
So just go ahead and dash forward through the main hall, up this ramp, and we talk to Charizard up here. Sorry, you're not a dragon. Get out of here. Only those who are worthy can really go past the Granite Zone. Blah blah blah. But anyways, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I had 60 something berries left over. We need at least 40 berries left over to play Absol. There are 2 pots in this room in case if you don't have enough berries, but this is part of the reason why we need so many berries. For the entire route. But after this, berries don't matter whatsoever.
Yeah. The berries you win from this minigame are enough to pay for all the rest of the attractions, so it's whatever after this.
So this is Azul's Hurdle Bounce. It's basically the same thing as Bulbasaur's Daring Dash, but you have hurdles. So you just have to press the 2 button to jump. That's it. And we only have like 3 Pokemon to play with, Pikachu and all the others. But Ponyta is by far the fastest that we friended, so we use Ponyta.
It should be noted for the IL strats that if you were to jump on top of a Dugtrio at the later half of its text box, you actually won't get penalized for it, and it'll push you forward slightly, saving a few frames. But that's like, it's so
task.
stupid.
That's beyond task.
You can get it once or twice in an IL if you really grind it, but overall it's really, really, really hard.
And it's
obviously not worth going for.
It's definitely not worth the time loss it is in the actual run. I don't know if I've ever. Go ahead.
Can I go on?
Okay. You go.
Yeah, doing it in a run is extremely difficult though. I've done it once, but it was by complete accident because I jumped too early.
Yeah. So we turn around, talk to Hop Up immediately becomes a friend. Back to Switch, this turns the bridge. But I was gonna say, I don't know if I mentioned this, but you actually don't have to come in first place to win. As long as you beat your goal time, it's fine. But a majority of the time, you will always come in first place. The only time I have come in second place was using Turtwig during Bulbasaur's daring dash.
Same. If Ponyta spawns for Bulbasaur, you get second with Turtwig.
But it doesn't matter. It's not about winning, it's just about beating your goal time.
Hear that, kids? It's not about winning.
It's about doing your best.
That's all that matters, and beating your own goals. Set your own goals and make them achievable.
Don't let dreams be dreams.
Gosh.
So, after we cross the bridge, we have to make sure that we hit the switch on the other side to make sure we turn the bridge back to a reasonable position. That's because we have to cross it from this side. But once we go up that slope, we talk to Flygon. He's like, I need you to go get some passwords and stuff. And then we're going around. Now we fight Blastoise. So now that our dash is at full capacity, it actually, wow, okay, sick pixel lock Blastoise. Our dash does more damage. It does like 1.1/3 or something like that. It's really random.
Nice. It turned into the Thunderbolt. That was nice.
So the fights are a little bit more awkward. It does like dash does like 1 1/3 by itself, but if you chain it after a Thunderbolt, it does like 3/4. It's like really odd.
I don't get the HP system in this game. It's all simple until they decide to mess it up.
Yeah. So there was a text box by Skorupi, but we're just gonna ignore that and do this little platforming minigame. I found a strat here recently. We used to actually just jump every single time, but I found recently that you can actually dash onto the little bid platforms and then jump, and that actually saves like 3 to 4 seconds over jumping everything. And that's what we call some hot new speed tech.
Alright, so I guess we should at least explain password skip, like in the minority that it exists.
Oh my god, it's such a joke though.
It's such a joke. I really do respect Hero for all that he's done. It does seem like though sometimes he was at his PSR run last year. I don't know if he was either making stuff up or stuff that came off faulty in testing, because some stuff that he said just when I went through the route and stuff just didn't hold ground. One thing that he did say though was that was password skip, and he said that he usually recorded when he practiced, but the one time he didn't, he actually got this password skip. So by the switch that he just that Deathline just knocked into to get into to knock off the fire, there is a ledge over there, and you can supposedly dash and then jump onto that edge. However, I tried it for many hours and was never able to get it. And I mean, I might be able to TAS it with Dolphin 5.0, and I might try, but it's really, really, really weird. But if it exists, it would save about like 2.5 minutes. But considering I wasn't able to get it after many hours of practice, it would never be RTA viable.
And that's why we actually have to use English, because I believe the JP version or something has to do with that. That and loads.
I mean, the general Pokemon rule is that English only is the language, excluding some games. And I know that Hero bought a Japanese copy of the game, and just on his Bulbasaur split, which is like 7.5 minutes, he saved like 30 seconds with Japanese.
Yeah.
So Japanese is broken, and you can get like a 218 with Japanese.
And for reference, I'm the current world record holder, and my time in real time attack is 2:22:12, and I've almost maxed my time out without like grinding RNG for 2 hours. So it's quite a difference from JP to this game.
Yeah, IGT in this game is almost dead, unless like the Wii U release of this game causes it to be faster. It's pretty much maxed out. The Pokemon communities talk about switching to RTA, which if that happens, then we'll have a different conversation then. But right now, it does not seem like 224 is ever going to happen. We were discussing beforehand when Hero still had the 227 world record that like, you know what's probably the max time for this, and we kind of agreed that 226 would be a really good time, and 225 would be like the perfect, and that's what Deathline has. So it's maybe 224, but the RNG would need to have that would be insane.
Yeah. And the reason we time it in IGTs because that's how most Pokemon games are timed, and because that's what it gives on the file select screen. And the in-game time is about 3 minutes and 20 seconds after whatever real-time attack time you got.
Yeah, that's mainly due to the last cutscene, which I don't know if we'll be showing or not because of the estimate. I'm not sure.
I should make it.
But the cutscene is kind of funny. We'll crack jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
There is definitely stuff.
There's a joke that I make in comparison to Poke's Pokemon Channel run, which he will be doing this marathon since we
oh boy,
we raised
Pokemon
200.
Channel.
We raised
that $200.
So, but yeah, so there.
Okay, go ahead.
We've totally like not talked about like half of what I've been doing, but we friended Togekiss and stuff. Togekiss has an obstacle hop. That one can be really annoying as a beginner. I remember when Poke and I were first starting out running this game, we had some difficulty doing that, and it still can be. What am I doing? It can still be increased. There's a task jump that I've found, but yeah, and it's basically tasks. Like there's almost no way to do RTA unless you're perfectly set up. So I went to the wrong zone.
Did
I went to the wrong zone. I menued one too far. Oh, that's 30 seconds.
I guess we should explain why you need to take Drifloom at all.
Togekiss mentioned that the last password is with Snorlax in the Granite Zone, so you have to menu down to Granite Zone, and it's not at the bottom, and I went too far. So, yeah. But once you come back, you're right next to Snorlax. You talk to Mawile, and he's like, "Thank you! It's such a wonderful place! I love your smile. Please come back." And it's like, "No, you were a giant jerk to us earlier."
Yeah, Mawile's kind of a prick.
So just talk to Snorlax, and he'll give you the word, and he'll be your friend. And it's really weird because the words are love, peace, and rainbow. Like rainbow just
those things he's not like the other.
Yeah. So now we go back to the Granite Zone.
With our newly found passwords.
Yeah. Go ahead and say what you were saying. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Like
I was just gonna remark that the stream's only been up for 24 hours straight. That's crazy.
That's good. No stream drop. So once we get all the passwords, we go ahead and talk to Flygon, and he'll be like, "Yeah, good job." So he'll.
So
go ahead.
Okay, alright. We need to stop cutting each other off. There's like 20 minutes left.
We've done this like 6 times.
We were doing so well too, and then it just went downhill in like the last 10 minutes or so. Okay. The reason password skip doesn't save as much time as it would was because you would have to get extra friends since you wouldn't be able to get Mawile or
Since
Snorlax.
it's right here, I'm gonna take the time to show it's right there. And we need a certain amount of friends at this point to play Salamance's thing, or Rayquaza's game. I'm not sure which one it is, but you need 80 friends, I believe it is. So this is Salamance's air ace. In this we only have Togekiss, so we play with Togekiss.
Yeah, it's our only option. Conveniently, Togekiss is also one of the best for this game.
Yes. Goal is 12,000, bonus is 10. As long as you're just... It's basically a lot like Pelipper Circle Circuit, but there are a bunch of targets, and if you just mash the 2 button, you do some attacks. I believe Togekiss is known as Whirlwind. As long as you're just flying around in a giant figure 8 pattern and mashing 2, you will almost guaranteed win. And if you hit the gold targets, which are worth 1,000 each. You can break a target by either running into it or breaking it with your Whirlwind. So yeah, I made 1670. 700. 16700. So.
This game's really easy to get.
Depending on how Mew goes, I may not sub 225, but just because the RNG in this run was not that great. Also, from me losing like 30 seconds from going to the wrong zone. Go away, Arcanine. Arcanine can be really annoying there. He'll just randomly turn when he wants, and he can totally just walk right in front of you and you'll attack him by accident. So go ahead and talk to Jumpluff, and Jumpluff will let you pass and be your friend after you defeat Salamance's air ace. So coming up, we have the last zone of the game, the wonderful Flower Zone.
Flower Zone's kind of cool. Because it's supposed to be like, oh, the Grand Zone's the last area. Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah.
This place just kind of has like Rayquaza in it. So.
Giant plot twist. So we run up the hill, Blossom's here, she talks to us. She tells us something that's like actually useful, and then we're like, yeah, whatever, we don't care. And then it becomes useful in like 10 minutes. So we go ahead and run over here and talk to Shaman. So we need the mirror, and we don't have that, so... Well, since we don't have the mirror, and we don't know where it is, just gotta go home. Sorry. End of run.
Runs over, guys, yeah, go home.
Don't know where it is. Can't find it. End of run.
Yeah, actually Marathon's over now, so,
No Pokemon Channel run, sorry, that was a joke.
Damn. It was all just a ploy for your money, thanks. I'm sure the children will enjoy it.
The menu button. Nah, we talked to Drifbloom here, and we go back to the meeting place, and everyone's getting everything ready. Piplup has the balloon ready, Chikorita's made the treehouse, Charmander's getting some fireworks ready, and we're like, we need a mirror, and conveniently, from the ground level, Charmander saw the mirror from below, even though there's like no physical way he could see that mirror. Also, here's something I want to talk about. A long time ago in some of our early routes, we used to come back into this treehouse when it was being built, and we would friend Mime Jr. and Burmy, since you just only had to talk to them. But there were two main reasons why I rejected that, and Poke eventually rejected that. Reason number one is because it's slow. You have to go through a bunch of text boxes, and reason number two is because the hitboxes in the treehouse are awful.
It's so bad.
You probably saw when I was running up there that I was running into the wall a lot. That's not because I was just making some bad mistakes. That's basically what that movement is.
It's just, it's so bad. I don't know how, like, everything else in this game is really well made in terms of, like, collision detection and stuff like that, but the treehouse, like, the main thing in the main area is awful. It's so bad.
You can get stuck on so many things. It's really hard to turn. And we just made the joke that there's no such thing as good treehouse movement.
There's no, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Luckily for us, we don't have to bring the mirror all the way back down and into the flower zone. So
they are kind enough to teleport us to the beginning of the flower zone.
That'd be such an awful walk.
So here's the last attraction in the game. This is Rick Claus's Balloon Panic. And it's really odd because he mentions that you need every sky prism piece to go to the flower zone. But we already have 13 out of 14, and it's not like it's gonna let us go to the final zone in the game without beating the last ones. I don't know why they even bothered mentioning that. But for this, we go ahead and play Rhyperior for reasons Poke only knows.
The Rhyperior has a really wide hitbox.
Nice.
It's able to get to the rings very easily.
And get hit by electrodes very easily.
Yeah, you want to avoid the electrodes, and Rhyperior's jump is like surprisingly good for what it is.
You can hop over Voltorbs like with relative ease, and you can hop over electrodes if you have some good skill.
Like one of the worst jumpers for this minigame, Chikorita, has troubles even jumping over Voltorb. None of the characters, or none of the Pokemon, excuse me, run faster on this part, so it's completely arbitrary which Pokemon to pick for pure speed.
The only way you lose time is if you hit a Voltorb or an Electrode. It is possible with Rhyperior to hit every single one of these targets. I've already missed a few though. You can get some pretty amazing scores. I've gotten almost 60,000 on this before.
Wow, that's crazy.
I believe my high score with Rhyperior is 55 or 56,000.
That's really good.
It's possible to get like 13,000 or almost 14,000 just before you even start the shooting segment. So that's a game that it's just kind of for your own personal like challenge. So now we finally got all the prism pieces. We're finally done. Now we're about to start the best segment of the game. I'm kidding, it's not the best segment. But we're about to start the best Pokemon in this entire game with its best.
Yeah, don't forget, get your Mew Mew Mews ready in chat.
Can I stop checking the flower?
Get your Mew Mew Mews up though. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit.
Gonna be lit. So the city of flower needs to be blooming, and conveniently Blossom, as she was referring to it earlier, she found something amazing on the beach down, this wonderful watering can, and just by using the can, not the water itself, but the can. I mean, you spray it with water, but apparently the can is what makes it grow so fast. It instantly blooms and allows us to go on. I'm gonna guess that this run's gonna be like a 225.7 if I don't mess up Mew.
Oh yeah, we got the Mew Mew Mews in chat already.
Yeah, Mew Mew Mew.
The best emote.
This chat is all chiefs and no Indians.
Wow. This guy. This guy.
So, Piplup at a convenient time actually comes in with the balloon and allows you to fly off. We're all flying out there. And this is the last area of the game. Not an actual zone, mind you, but the last area. This is the Sky Pavilion, where Mew resides with the Sky Prism. You missed 3, Poke. You failed the pyramid.
I wasn't making a pyramid.
Uh-huh.
I was just spamming Mew Mew Mew.
Mew, mew, mew. In about like a minute and a half, you'll get to hear the amazingness, and it's great. So there's still some shaking.
Alright.
And they're finally just now telling you the Sky Prism being broken and Pokemon fighting is connected. So Shaman shows you that Mew can alter his appearance to a different Pokemon, and Piplup's like, Mew's so funny, transforming into a different Pokemon like that. It's like, no, Piplup, it's not funny. The fate of the world depends on our hands right now. So we have to run up this ramp, and there are 2 broken segments. You have to jump over those. Piplup's up here, and we have to talk to him. He's like, I haven't seen Mew around here. And then we just go back to the beginning, because we obviously don't know what to do. And we talk to Piplup, who's also down here somehow. What do you mean it's not another one of me? That couldn't be it. Just go check again. And this is supposed to represent hide and seek with Mew, but it's not really hide and seek.
Yeah, I think the official game guide calls it hide and seek, even though it's not hide and seek at all. It's literally just, hey, Mew deceived you.
Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Boom. That's Mew, Mew, Mew. So Mew's like, just become friends with me, and it'll complete the process. So Mew will make you play every single type of skill game with him, technically discounting hide and seek. But first up is the most annoying thing in the entire game, in my opinion, the final obstacle hop.
Mew 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 and Knuckles. That's good.
Here's the final obstacle hop in this game. It's not hard. It's just if you fall down, it takes a few seconds to fall down to reset, and it's a lot of tight turns in midair. And turning in midair is not fun.
There's a reason it doesn't exist.
Like the only time we turn in midair that we actually try to do it is right after we talk to Hitmontop, and you mash 2 to jump. I constantly mash left when I'm doing that, and I turn the camera so I can see what I'm doing. But that was actually a pretty good obstacle hop time. Anything above like 86, 87 is really good. So next up we have some battles. First up, he's going to start with Magmortar. Yeah, that was an 89. That's really good. So for these battles, the strat made by Poke is just sidestep and mash quick attack. The best strat in the world.
The way the math works out is going for Thundershocks is just not worth it.
Yeah, it's inefficient. So after that, he'll go into Guard Chomp, and his Thunderbolt won't work on me. But we don't even use Thunderbolt in any of these fights anyways, so. Also, it goes without saying, you do need to take caution to not get hit, because you can easily get 1 or 2 shotted.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, because throughout the most of the run, you've been in literally no danger to any of the Pokemon, but suddenly this guy's here and you're like, oh yeah, I still only have 2 HP, and then you can get completely wrecked.
Yeah. And Guard Chomp is only one of the 3 where you have to run away before you can attack him again, because he uses Giga Impact, and that's a dashing move, as I call it, and that'll affect you if you try to attack him again.
Yeah, usually the only way you can stop dashing moves is with Thunder Shock, but you kinda can't do that, so
last up we have Tyranitar. He uses like Dark Pulse or whatever it is. I never really know what this move is supposed to do.
I think it's Dark Pulse.
But just sidestep and dash, and that's it. It's broken. And finally, we have the last skill game, the entire game, Chase. And I'm gonna shut up for a few seconds. This is by far the most epic theme in the entire game.
It's a really good theme.
It's really disappointing that it only lasts that like 15 seconds there, if that. So Mew is now our friend. To whoever is timing my run, time is coming up. It'll be on the 4th text box after re-talking to Mew. I'll count it down. I'll say 3, 2, 1, stop, and unstop. Hit the timer. 1, or 3, 2, 1, stop. Oh, so 225, bitches! Excuse me for the language.
What was it on your timer? What was your time?
224:59.95.
Oh my gosh. The legendary. The legendary.
Excuse me for my language, but I was honestly not expecting the sub 225 this run. It was rough. I will say though that 225, sub 225, whatever, that's a really good marathon time. Like that's actually a really
good time.
That's a really solid marathon time to have, especially with the amount of bad RNG I had. I'm actually still under 3 minutes off my world record, which is really good. My estimate was 2.5 hours, just in case anything went really wrong. So, since I completed my estimate, or my run far under my estimate, we're gonna watch this like 3.5 minute cutscene with all the stuff. This will definitely be a 2:28 in-game time, which is like tied for 3rd place, so that's definitely not bad at all.
Definitely a very good time.
This makes up for my mistake of a sunshine run yesterday. Seeing as I failed EYG like 6 times and spent 6.5 minutes on it.
Alright, so let's watch this cutscene.
So they kind of just go over, yay, the parks and happiness, and they're going over all the zones we visited. Here's the flower zone, the haunted zone. Here's the meta zone with all the zone keepers of the original 3 zones, or a few zones. Here's the iceberg zone. Pikachu, you're gonna fall off. And here's the meta zone once again. Actually, this is the ramp coming up to the PokéPark. Or the meeting place, my bad. So we got all that sharing and stuff, and Mr. Vis actually becomes useful and takes a picture somehow with its non-opposable thumbs. Or hands, or arms, or anything. And Charmander, shout out to Charmander for almost killing himself.
Shout outs to Charmander. Literally tries to fight you in Magma Zone, tries to fight you again with more serious, and then doesn't do anything for the rest of the game except for make fireworks, and he almost dies because of it.
And why this is so funny to me in Poke is because I'm the current world record holder for PokéPark Wii, and Poke is the current world record holder for Pokemon Channel, which we'll be doing in a few hours, and there's something very similar that happens in that game too.
Yeah, we'll try to point out, there actually is a decent amount of talk about Pokemon Channel, but I'll try to remember that. You can even bring it up in chat if you want to.
So we're going to save the game there as the second save, and we reset, so I can see what my in-game time is, which I know it's for a fact is going to be at 2:28, which is still better than Poke's time.
Yeah, by like 5 minutes.
But overall, I'm really happy with this run. This is a definitely good run to showcase. It's quite a fun run. There it is.